Hey, my name is Justin, and I've been thinking quite a bit about a story known as Nehemiah. It's found in the Old Testament of the Bible. And Nehemiah and his friends, they encounter all kinds of brokenness, all kinds of things that aren't as they should be. What's interesting about the story, though, is how instead of being paralyzed by that, Nehemiah jumps into action, joins God through getting involved and praying, and the outcome of that action is incredible. Let's unpack that a bit more as we take a walk. In Nehemiah's story, it's interesting to me how his response, his action with God, really serves as a metaphor, a model for me, for you. Because I think we all know that there are things, maybe really close to home, or maybe things as we look out into the broader world that aren't the way they're supposed to be. And there's a longing, I think, that we all share that those things be made right. What I love that Nehemiah discovered is that God's heart is that they be made right. And Jesus shows us that most clearly. He's God coming to us in full humanity, living in the midst of our reality, encountering brokenness, but not just understanding it or encountering it. Watch how he interacts with people, how he heals, how he drives out the things that keep things broken, how he restores. And one of the things I love is not only that he does that, but he invites us into that as well. You may be familiar with a prayer that he taught his followers known as the Lord's Prayer. In the opening lines of that prayer, it begins with, "Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name." But the next line that plays off of that, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Consider those words for just a moment. On earth as it is in heaven. What would it look like for the realities of heaven to be made tangible here on earth? In our neighborhoods, in the places we work, in our relationships. And maybe you're asking yourself, well, what do we know of heaven? Like, what's actually happening there? At the end of the biblical story, we see a great picture of that. We see this picture of God's city coming to earth. And in that city, what we find is there's no death, no pain, no brokenness, no heartache, no separation. People are flourishing, all under the goodness of their Creator and Father, God. So back to our walk. One of the things that really helps me live into that prayer, a practice that you might find helpful too, is taking a walk and praying that line over every house I walk past, over every business I pass, over every school I pass. What would it look like for the realities of heaven to come into homes and businesses and schools all over our community? I think we're all in this to see flourishing come where there's brokenness. And I think just like Nehemiah, by praying this prayer Jesus gave us, we get to join God in both being present among what needs to be made right and joining God through prayer, which is great action, maybe more than we ever think, to see things change. So I'd love to invite you into this practice. Take a walk and pray those opening lines of the Lord's Prayer. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, for your neighborhood, for the places you love, the places God's planted you. And let's see what story God writes through our participation with him in that.